All right, everyone. It's transfer portal update time. Let's get right to it here at the Voice of College Football. We appreciate you stopping by. We will leave your comments and questions there in the chat. Super chats available for all of you, Venmo, PayPal, and Cash App, as you see down in the ticker below. Most effective way to support us here at the Voice of College Football. But if you've got a comment or question, super chats available. Also, we'll take any kind of information. So this is a collaborative effort. I'm not tracking the transfer portal all day. I have, over the number of weeks that we've done this, both during the spring session and then going back to the winter session, I do spend maybe 90 minutes going through all the various updates of who has entered the portal, who is visiting a number of campuses, and then who also has made their decision and commitment and signed elsewhere, and then been able to put in perspective, based on statistics and other information, the significance of those moves. Today, we are just flying by the seat of our pants. We're jumping into the transfer portal information that we have. We have gone through three sources over the last few days. 247 Sports has been our one old reliable of sorts that we have tapped into each and every time over the last couple of days. We have added the Mike Farrell X account. I'm not familiar with his work, but it was suggested. D-Rock Irish, thank you for that. And then also on 3. So we'll go through the transfer transactions and news and information from the past day with all of you. Again, we appreciate your contribution because you guys go out there and you're able to find sources that I don't. I'm one guy. I'm running a business, and of course, you guys know what the deal is. I can't devote myself to as much content as I would like. We do have all-time program rankings and current 2024 program rankings headed your way soon. Also want to let you know that our buddy Steve Dace is dropping by at 4 p.m. Eastern time on Wednesday. So lock in this time. Wednesday, 4 p.m. Eastern time, live. Steve Dace and I slice and dice Michigan football and other topics across college football. Our next show on this fine day is with Corey Brada from the Hawkeye of the Storm. Hawkeyes Live, 5:30 Eastern time, and one pretty substantial quarterback, both in size, but also in the number of games that he played last year, despite his struggles, has entered the transfer portal. So we will certainly hit on that as well. Let's get right to it. Before I do, I will check the chat. Anything there? Does not appear to be so. Here we go. Let's start with 247 Sports and their tracker. We've got it all lined up where we left off yesterday. And we left it off with this gentleman right there. He's a 2-year starter at Arizona State, cornerback Ed Woods. 33 tackles last year, 3 tackles for loss, 4 passes defensed. Again, 2-year starter at Arizona State, visiting Bama. That would be a substantial climb for him, of course. Then we've got this news coming out. Texas running back Savion Red has entered the NCAA transfer portal. We also have, of course, Florida State, their situation in regards to their ability to get into the transfer portal, limited by their NCAA violations. So that just started for Mike Norvell and FSU on Monday. However, they have lost a few players to the portal. Greedy Vance is the most prominent player, defensive back. Also, second-year Florida State wide receiver, Dravius Jacobs. And we covered him pretty extensively over the last couple of years on our Florida State channel and also in our wide receiver preview with Logan Robinson. So he is in the portal. It's a stacked room at Florida State, despite their losses at wide receiver in terms of Johnny Wilson, of course, Jaheim Bell, tight end, and Keon Coleman. Florida State stacked with talent there. Not necessarily a ton of proven players, but talent, including Hakeem Williams. Chris Hummer reporting, joining a crystal ball selection of Matt Zenitz that has Mexico State tight end transfer Eli Stowers, the former Texas A&M signee, converted quarterback, Number 14, non-committed player that he will probably choose Vanderbilt and make his way back to the SEC. Here we've got a prominent group of 5 edge rusher that we've talked about the past week or so. Kieron Crawford, Arkansas State edge rusher, signed with Auburn. Third portal addition for the Auburn Tigers this spring. And coach Hugh Freeze, they're making moves at Auburn. Expect Auburn to be better this year. We've got out of Jacksonville State, first team all conference in Conference USA, defensive lineman Chris Hartle is entering the portal. Let me run that by you again. That L is an I. Chris Hardy is set to enter the transfer portal. He was the Conference USA Defensive Lineman of the Year. Finished last year with 61 tackles, a ton for a defensive lineman, 16 tackles for loss, 8.5 sacks. He obviously did not earn the Voice of College Football All Conference USA Defensive Player of the Year, or I would have remembered him. But that's a pretty substantial player right there. Chris Hardy, Jacksonville State. Keep an eye out for him. We will start to see the visits from the Power 4 programs roll in. Florida Atlantic. No, this is Florida A&M. Guard Cardell Thomas. He's generated interest from UNLV, UCLA, Vanderbilt, among nearly a dozen FBS schools, according to his agent. That's what his agent says. Can't get used to these guys having agents out in the open now. Thomas started his career at LSU, former top 100 recruit, so he has talent. There you see him on the field at USF for Florida A&M. We've got big news here. We spotlighted this guy yesterday, not just here, but also on the Texas show, as the Longhorns and Steve Sarkisian search for a defensive lineman to pair with their signing of Bill Norton from Arizona yesterday. UCLA brings back 4-star defensive lineman Jay Toya. So he's back at UCLA and going to play for Deshaun Foster. We've got a lineup of visits coming in here with Texas State linebacker transfer Dan Foster, 13-game starter in 2023. Dan Foster will be visiting Louisville, Cincinnati, New Mexico, Jacksonville State, New Mexico State, Buffalo, Arkansas State. Those are the offers. Those are the offers, not necessarily visiting. Those are the offers coming in for Dan Foster. And on the surface, you would think Louisville and Cincinnati would be the best offers. They certainly appear to be a huge separation between those two and everyone else on the list. Let's see what Dan Foster produced last year. If I can find the right Dan Foster, that would help. That would help. We will get there. Daniel Foster last year, 52 tackles, 3.5 tackles for loss, 1 forced fumble, and 1 fumble recovery. So 52 tackles at linebacker. So pretty substantial player there for Texas State. Okay. This time last year, it was a big deal that Jeff Sims was the newly anointed quarterback in replacing Casey Thompson at Nebraska, and he shooed away Casey Thompson to Florida Atlantic. That was a big deal off-season 1 year ago in 2023. How things change in college football, huh? Because you go from big-time starting quarterback at a place like Nebraska and being the centerpiece of the offense and being a guy that people are excited about 1 year ago. And Jeff Sims threw 0 touchdowns this past year and 6 interceptions. He was one of the biggest disasters in college football. So here we are a year later. He lost his starting job as much as Matt Rule tried to stay with him. And now Nebraska quarterback transfer Jeff Sims is currently visiting Arizona State, and he may want to hand them the tape from 2022 and before. 3-year starter at Georgia Tech. He can run around. He's got arm talent, but man, when it says struggle with turnovers, yeah, he fumbled sometimes, but also 6 interceptions against 0 touchdown passes. And he threw some lousy interceptions. If a guy throws, let's say, 10 interceptions, you can guess that maybe 3 of those aren't necessarily his mistake. But Jeff Sims threw like quarterbacking 101 type interceptions last year. 31 touchdowns in his career, 29 picks. Arizona State, that would be a downgrade. Now, here's the guy we alluded to at the top of the show, and we will have more with Corey Brada on the Iowa show at 5:30 Eastern. Iowa quarterback Deacon Hill, he's in the portal, made 9 starts last year. Did he play well? No. Did he play better toward the end of the year? Yes. His splits from first half to second half, pretty marked a difference, going from, let's say, a 40% passer to a 60% passer. Still did not raise that number past 50% passing. So, yeah, Deacon Hill has much to learn, and this brings into focus, in a sense, the need for Iowa to go out and get a transfer quarterback now. And we have pounded the table all offseason for Iowa to go out and get a transfer quarterback. Now, Iowa fans, I believe you should be pleased here because they have to go get one now. They have an injured Cade McNamara, and they have a very inexperienced Marco Lyonez who can run around and make plays, but is still developing and learning as a thrower and decision maker in the pocket. They have to get a quarterback now. They needed to get a quarterback before this move. Now they have to get a quarterback. So we will size up at some point who's available. Now there is some talk, and I had somebody contact me today that said Northwestern quarterback Brendan Sullivan entering the portal will make his way to Iowa. We can't in any way can I confirm that or deny that. I'm just bringing it up, but he's in the portal. He's in the same division. Kirk Ferentz and company have game planned against him. Made 8 starts last 2 seasons, including 4 last year. And I ranked Brendan Sullivan as, I believe, the worst quarterback in the Big Ten. Now, I don't think he's a bad quarterback, but in comparison to the rest, so last year, Brendan Sullivan, because Northwestern had Ben Bryant as the starter coming in from Cincinnati the last 2 years, but Sullivan still had 99 pass attempts, 6 touchdowns and 2 picks, and completed almost 64% of his passes. The year before, he threw 96 passes and had 4 touchdowns and 3 picks, 74% completion percentage in 2022. So this is an experienced quarterback in the Big Ten who has thrown 195 career passes and completed 68.7% of his passes. So if nothing else, that would be an enormous upgrade at quarterback in terms of completion percentage. Iowa barely completes 50% of its passes, regardless of who's been the quarterback since Nathan Stanley left campus. If you look at Spencer Petras, Deacon Hill, Cade McNamara, you're looking at 52, 54% completion percentages at Iowa, and they could possibly go get a guy that has faced the same defenses, and he's completed 69%. Brendan Sullivan, possibly an option there. He is an option. You would think that he would jump on that. You would think, because he could win the job. All right. We have about 70 folks on the line. I believe most of those are on X. We invite you to come on over to YouTube. You can mingle it up in the chat with everyone on college football. If you got a comment or question, of course, drop it in the chat. Kyle Ford talked with Chris Hummer about entering year 6. Okay, that has nothing to do with the transfer portal. We've got, oh boy, so on the heels of Ohio State running back Dallin Hayden signing with Colorado, their leading rusher from last year, Dylan Edwards, currently expected to enter the transfer portal. Boy, there's a shock. Dylan Edwards of the class of 2023, 4-star recruit, 4 touchdowns last year. Doesn't it seem like everyone's a 4-star recruit? There is such a wide range of 4-star talent. 4 touchdowns last year, hit a big game against TCU. You see the picture there in the big Colorado win to open the season. So there we go. He's expected to enter the portal. Here we got a trend here. Dallin Hayden has upset the running back room in Colorado. Syvion Wilkerson, he's entered the portal. He ran for 190 yards last year and 3 touchdowns. We see him there against Colorado State in that famous comeback win in overtime by the Buffs. LSU true freshman offensive lineman Joe Cryer. He's a true freshman offensive lineman. He just signed with the school in December. He's entering the transfer portal. I will not go on my rant today about these type situations. It is legal. It's within the rules. Sir, go right ahead. I don't know what your situation is, but and there may be credibility to some of those decisions, but not most of them. Marshall defensive lineman Will Norman, who transferred to the Herd from Florida earlier this year, has re-entered the portal. And there we go again. We've got a 2023 top 200 recruit who played, and I put that in quotes, for Florida last year, transferred to Marshall. We've got another double transfer. I'm going to start making a double transfer list, and I don't know what I'm going to do with that list, but I will be tempted to make fun of it. Minnesota transfer Elijah Hawkins has heard from a lot of schools. So Elijah Hawkins, you see a ton of Power 4 teams there. And I don't see that he did anything last year, but Kentucky, Texas Tech, Florida State, South Carolina, Wake Forest stand out right there. I'd like to find out more about Elijah Hawkins. I can't say that I remember him. Elijah Hawkins. His hey. The mixing the football and basketball. That's not good. No. Let's not do that. Okay. Oh man, LSU running back John Emery. There's a blast from the past. It seems like he's been in college football for quite a long time, but it seems like everybody has these days, playing 7 and 8 years. 16 career touchdowns. Yeah, John Emery was significant in the LSU backfield for a few years. As it states there, 16 career touchdowns. He's gained over 1,000 yards in his career, and he takes it all the way back to that LSU team in 2019. He scored 4 touchdowns for that national championship team as a freshman. So John Emery had his best season, 2020 and 22. Missed all of 2021. He's a guy that averages 5 yards per carry. He can help someone. We've got Alabama defensive lineman Curtis Perry. I do remember his recruitment. Look at that, top 55 overall recruit in 2022. That is rarefied air. But what has he done at Bama? I am seeing nothing last season out of one Curtis Perry. And again, I probably am just familiar with him based on his recruiting status, which was top tier. He has done nothing at Bama, meaning logged 0 statistics in 22-23, 2 seasons. Okay, but he's talented. Maybe somebody gives him a shot. I'm sure someone will. Michigan State starting defensive lineman Derek Harmon. We actually talked about the potential of him entering the portal, and there we go. It's official. Derek Harmon of Michigan State, he's in the portal. And for some reason, my search is not working. But yes, Derek Harmon, 40 tackles last year, 3.5 tackles for loss, 1.5 sacks, had a pass defended, and he has played 24 games at Michigan State. Check that. Okay, yes, 25 games at Michigan State, 71 tackles, 3.5 sacks, 6.5 TFLs in his career. There is Dan Foster. More offers coming in for him, Appalachian State and Texas San Antonio. More from Dan Foster. Louisville hosting Dan Foster. And as we mentioned, Louisville and Cincinnati are the most prestigious of those locations. All right, let's go to Mike Farrell's list and see if he has anything different. Mike Farrell seems to major on the group of 5, so I don't know that there's going to be anything here substantial. We shall see. All right, Louisiana Monroe, Murray State, we're not interested. Mississippi State offensive lineman Jaden Hobson, he's in the portal. Was a true freshman in 2023. Yeah, he redshirted. So not a factor at this point. Could be for somebody else. We've got a Kentucky player here. Who are we looking at here? Number 15. Jeremiah Anglin, defensive back. I'm going to guess that he got the nudge. That would be reasonable to think, but we don't know. We know that last season, Anglin, no play. Anybody else here? Syracuse wide receiver Bryce Cohoon. He was a true freshman in 23. Most likely he did not do anything. So we're filling out rosters at this point. Don't see anybody else here. A couple Syracuse players. So we could give this a quick look on the Syracuse front between Gordon and this wide receiver. So basically no playing time out of either one of these players. Group of 5, group of 5, group of 5, group of 5. And double transfers, more double transfers. Michigan transfer tight end Josh Beetham picked up an offer from Cal. Utah State has offered Kyle Moretti, the linebacker for Central Michigan. Iowa tight end Cale Vanderbush. Well, Iowa's tight end room is not just top heavy in regards to NFL talent still, but also deep. We saw that last year. They had 3 tight ends get hurt, and they were still producing at the position. We've got a backup quarterback at Oregon State buried on the depth chart. He's leaving. So nothing here of substance. All right, now we go to on 3. And the latest here. As reported by Pete Nakos, the current expectation around the Louisville program is that edge Tyler Barron will re-enter the transfer portal. Tyler Barron is a top flight defender in the SEC, Tennessee in 2023, went to Louisville. I threw my hands up when I heard that, thinking, okay, there's got to be a money consideration, of course, there. But to leave Tennessee as a star player and to go to Louisville, downgrade. Now, whoa. This almost takes it to a new level. Tennessee player in 2023, committed to Ole Miss, backed out, went to Louisville. This past cycle in the winter and now in the spring cycle, he's going somewhere else. Just so these players understand that there is not another transfer window coming up before the season. Texas cornerback Terrence Brooks enters the transfer portal. Former 5-star. Had 3 picks last year. He's a starter. This is big news. And we are covering this story. Sonny Verma, Matthew Miller will be posting a video on the Texas channel. So be looking out for that. We have yet to expand our coverage into women's basketball. And there we see with Dylan Edwards, as we mentioned, Dylan Edwards and a total of 2. Yes, Sivion Wilkerson. And he followed Dion to Jackson State, from Jackson State to Colorado. Okay, Louisville safety Wesley Walker. If you are into the transfer portal, you should be a Louisville fan. Here's another Tennessee transfer to Louisville. The NIL must have had some kind of connection to these players, but he has re-entered the portal. And Wesley Walker, not the famed Wesley Walker of the New York Jets, but Wesley Walker we will check out his contributions last year. Okay, I thought he was a player. I thought he had come up in discussions with our Tennessee guys. Wesley Walker, he can play 53 tackles at safety, 3.5 tackles for loss, 1 sack, 2 passes defense. That's from the 2023 Tennessee defense, which was a top 25 defense, and he was 4th on the team in tackles despite missing 3 games. So he most likely would have finished possibly 2nd on the team in tackles. So that's a player. We talked about Deacon Hill, Wisconsin to Iowa to question mark. Oh, this is new to us. Top 100 player back in the 2023 class, edge Jaden Wayne. He's in the portal from Miami. Jaden Wayne's a big talent. Who this past season had 13 tackles and got in on a sack, half a sack. Jaden Wayne, 13 tackles in his freshman season at Miami, but he's in the portal. And of course, for the best in Miami conversation, Cam Underwood and myself, Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Time on the Miami channel. Okay. This is good news right here, or big news, I should say. Good news for Hugh Freeze. Says the Plains is the crib. War damn Eagle. That's coming from former USC defensive lineman Isaiah Rakes, also formerly of Texas A&M. 6'1", 315 defensive lineman. And this really hurts USC. They could use him in the defensive lineman up front, but he is going to Auburn. Mike Wright. Now, here's a guy, I completely questioned this. He was a starting quarterback at times at Vanderbilt. I'm not going to say that he was the starting quarterback, but they always had an issue with trying to figure out who the starting quarterback was during his tenure at Vandy. But he won the job on several occasions at Vandy. And you see his stats there. Threw for 2,500 yards, ran for over 1,200 yards as the starter at Vandy. He went to Mississippi State, and I scratched my head thinking, okay, he's not starting above Will Rogers. Is he going to play another position? No, he did not. And now he's in the portal. And there we see some other information that we already knew concerning Antonio Gates Jr. and also Henry Parrish going back to Ole Miss. There it is, folks. The transfer portal update for another fine day in college football. We appreciate you all stopping by. We will be back on Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. And to get you set up with everything that we've got going, our next show, Hawkeyes Live, 5:30 Eastern with Corey Bratta over on the Iowa channel. We see a couple Iowa transfers, including Deacon Hill, we will discuss. So again, that's Hawkeyes Live at 5:30 Eastern Time, followed by Nebraska Live at 7 Eastern. The biggest 12 shows going on in the Big 12 channel at 7 Eastern as well. At 8 o'clock is Michigan Live on the Michigan channel. And then later tonight on the Oregon channel, 10:30 Eastern, all new Ducks Live with Exploring with Ben. So there's no way for you to remember all that, is there? That's why you go to the community page on our channel, the main channel, right here. Every morning, we post the day's lineup. Thank you, Doug. Appreciate that. And my partial apologies for not preparing necessarily for today's show as I have in the past. Just too much going on. Yes, if you have cybersecurity issues, I can say this as a spokesperson with experience. I am an Aura member. If you have cyber issues, you secure your finances, your information, your identity, get peace of mind. Well stated by Jackson here. Get peace of mind. It's in the link in the chat, aura.com/MarkRogers for a 14-day free trial. You can't miss. Again, I signed up with Aura before they ever sponsored, a year before they ever sponsored us here at the Voice of College Football. And again, we will be promoting, because I can't get them all the time. You know what? I probably could get them on even more so than I do, but I just hesitate asking all the time, even though I used to be on his show all the time, basically every week. It's almost every week. But Steve Dace Live, Wednesday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time. So it's great to have Steve. I wanted him on after the Michigan spring game. So there we go. We get the Michigan take from Steve and the Big Ten and the nation. That's going to be live Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. We're back in less than 2 hours on the Iowa channel with Corey Bratta from the Hawkeye of the Storm. Hawkeyes live, 5:30 Eastern, 4:30 Central. We will see you then. Most of us are on the internet pretty much all the time. It's fun. You get to socialize, you get entertained, and in this day and age, it's pretty much necessary. And even if you're one of those people that's not on the internet all the time, you know what is? Your personal information. And there are people out there trying to hack you all the time. They want your email address, they want your phone number, they want your place of employment, and they want to do bad things with it. There's also fairly legitimate corporations and companies that want your information. They want it for marketing purposes. They're going to buy it, they're going to sell it, they're going to trade it. At the very least, it's annoying to you. It's a nuisance, it's aggravating. Your email gets cluttered up with spam email. You get robocalls all the time. That's at the very least. At the worst, it's a threat to your family, to your friends, to your personal information, to your banking, to your finances, to your security, to your safety, to your identity. It can be pretty serious. This video is sponsored by Aura. I got hacked and it was pretty obvious. This was about 8 or 9 months ago, and there were red flags all over the place. And I didn't exactly know what to do, but I knew I needed to do something quickly. I mean quickly. I researched 8, 10, or 12 companies immediately. I went all over the place. I asked people. I was online looking for the best company that could serve my needs and secure my information. You know who I found? Aura. And I'm glad I did. It was amazing. I contacted them. They got right back to me immediately. Their customer support is phenomenal. Their customer service is first-rate, friendly. They are detailed. They know what they're doing, and they do it right, and they will protect you. In addition to everything I just mentioned, they've got a password-keeping service. They keep your credit score. They notify you anytime there's a possible data breach. This has happened to me a number of times. I'm getting notifications all the time when there's a possible compromise to my credit score or anything that I don't want. They've got a VPN that will allow you to browse the internet anonymously. It's amazing. And again, customer service support available 24/7. Click the link in the description section below and get 2 free weeks of Aura. Protect your finances, protect your information, protect your privacy, protect your identity. I did, and I'm glad I did. Aura, thank you so much for what you've done for me, and now for my voice of